Yeah, this is still really good. I need to change that. G'day, g'day. Welcome to Widow Trio and Freedom. My name's Rob Birdsey. You can see us live on YouTube. If you go to Widowed Trio and Freedom, so Widowed, I'm a widowed dad. Trio, I have 2 little boys, and Freedom, I do this to get stories out so we can all free our minds. You can check us out there live. Today I have a great guest who's been quite inspirational in the stuff that I've gotten into and helped me along the way too. His name's Bill Kershisnik.
There you go. Yeah, you got a second.
I got it the second time. How good's that? Bill, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you walked past the other day when I was in here doing another show with other people, and it just jogged my mind to get you in here. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the coolest things about this radio station is just the placement of it. And I think if you haven't been on campus, it's hard to really spatialize, but it is just this sort of like lighthouse in the middle of the student center.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It always just draws the eye, and I mean, everyone wants to see what's happening in here.
Yeah, especially I like how we had it before. It was 2 little desks, and now we got this big desk in here. I think it's even better.
No, this is like the command center. Yeah, man. It's cool.
No, I like it, especially once we have a few big interviews coming up, and we got a number of people going to be in here doing interviews and things.
Very cool.
That should be fun at the start of the semester. I wanted to start. We're going to start right at the very beginning.
Sure.
Where were you born, and were there both parents in the house? How was all that?
Yeah, I was born in San Francisco, California.
Oh.
My dad was in podiatry school at the time, and so he was he was in school and then also working as a building supervisor so that they could afford to live there.
Oh, wow.
And it was just me and my sister at the time. And then we moved around a lot because of my dad's residency, and then he joined the Army. And so early on in my life, I moved around quite a bit, but San Francisco is my point of origin.
That was your hub?
Yeah.
You have moved around a lot, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I just want to break it down because I like to get a bit of a backstory of all those moves. How did it feel? I know as a kid, we don't like to move. I got moved around in a different way because I got kicked out of so many different schools.
Oh, okay.
My parents, they didn't really care, and that just escalated to me not caring, and I wasn't the greatest of kids, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. Well, ne'er do well.
Yeah, there you go. But I noticed like I went from one school to another school to another school, and then, and by the time you get into like the 3rd or 4th school, you start not caring, even if you make a friend or not. It's like, who cares? I can walk alone,
Yeah. When it comes to moving as a kid, I honestly feel like it was pretty beneficial for me. So I'm lucky enough that I have a brother and 2 sisters, and so I think what I learned very early on is to lean on them. Like as you move around a lot, I mean, there'd be times where we'd move to a place for just like 6 months because my dad was getting training, and then we'd move again. Like that. There would be these sort of transient friendships that were certainly meaningful, and they would touch my life, I would touch their life, but I always had these anchor friendships of my siblings. And don't get me wrong, like any sort of
you good
siblings thing is rooted sometimes in like monkeys in the zoo sort of ferocity,
Yeah.
But there is, I think, a closeness that gets fostered with that, and a closeness that I think has followed me into adulthood. So, like, I think moving around as much as I did really forced me to have my siblings as my best friends, and they've really stayed that way. The other thing that it's done for me is I think it made me open to change and motion, like, and I spent a lot of time in my early adulthood being very stagnant, and then made some big changes geographically, one after another. And I wasn't sure how I would do with that. And then as I hit it, those sort of like attitudes sort of just clicked back in. And so it made me, I think, much more adaptable too. And it's cool to see the world with your family. I mean, I didn't leave the United States, but I saw, the South, the West, the East Coast. Like, I got to see how big this place is.
It's cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've driven all over this land. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, my to talk about the sibling thing, me and my sister were 5 years apart, and it was night and day with us. But firsthand with my sons, they're 2 years apart.
Oh yeah.
And I suppose we were in the Mormon church, but then when my wife decided to leave, I was like, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to go to beer. So and then that was it for us, and we don't have. I mean, I have lots of Mormon friends, but we don't really hang out too much.
Mhm.
And the same as like my kids now, like my eldest is he gets a little bummed out a bit, but him and his brother are so tight. Like they are really, really tight. I'm impressed on how good they get along. I'm a little worried for the future. If they get along good now, it's like what comes up next. But them having that, and and looking into what they walk in their path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, man, you'll find key people that you're going to be with. But I also have plans of, if I can get this thing to roll really good, I would love to take this around the world and them with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And go do interviews and things like that. And they understand where I'm coming from. Even today we had a conversation, and he just said to me, I said, do you think you'd be all right if we moved out of here and got going? He said, Dad, I think I'm ready to leave. I would like to see somewhere else,
That's cool.
I just thought that was really wise to even think like that. But at the end of the day, they really do have each other, which is so cool to see.
It's huge. It's huge. I don't know what I would do without those relationships. They're just such a core part of who I am and what I believe. And it's really fascinating because as I would, get friends and I would develop those friendships and see how their families work, I'd be like, oh, maybe I've got the weird family. Like, very, very huggy, very like open with our emotions, very.
That's awesome.
Like I'm driving up to Salt Lake this weekend to spend some time with them. Like,
they live local then?
Yeah,
local-ish.
Everyone in my immediate family lives in Salt Lake except for me. So.
Oh, that's actually really good for you.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I like having a little feeling of some separation between my family and myself. But I like having the option to go up, especially in like emergency situations. So my first teaching job was in Northwest Louisiana, so very far away. It was, like a 26-hour drive, something like that.
Yeah.
And my mom was diagnosed with a brain tumor and had to get it removed, and I was not in a position that I could come and support that.
That's harsh.
It is really harsh, and thank God she's doing great now. But like if something had happened, I'd never forgiven myself, and I knew at that point it was time to start finding something closer.
You touched on a couple of things. I want to say something that I've observed with you is you're super fun to learn from. Like you work every angle, and it's not like it doesn't seem like you're trying hard to do it, but you're just always, you make things fun and you make light of the subject, and you make, I mean, you're self-deprecating all the time, like the way, how you just do things and how you make little comments on it, but they just stick in your head. And I do a similar thing when I meet new people. Like it's kind of like the rub that's on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, I go back into my little cave and hunker down. But I think that comes from being moved around so much and having to, you roll out and dance monkey dance and then roll back in. Do you feel that?
I do, and I mean, like, I think, um, like, as a kid, um, growing up, I've always been overweight, and so it's really easy to change the discourse if you're engaging, right? Versus if you just like allow them to laugh at you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think there's some of that. I think I've always liked some elements of performance. I did theater all through high school. I found it to be a little exhausting, but parts of it I think are really really good, and it's a way to like express yourself that feels safe because like with a class I can go up and dance monkey dance like you said, and then worst case scenario in 14 weeks like I'll probably never see them again.
Yeah.
And there's definitely I think a difference in my pedagogy in the classroom versus in my one-on-one stuff.
Yeah.
And I find more value in my one-on-one stuff because I think I can be probably the most authentic version of myself. I think my performative version of myself is an authentic version. Like I'm not like false, but there is a barricade there.
Oh yeah. Well, you kind of shotgun it for everyone.
Yeah.
You're not going to make everyone laugh, but you're going to get maybe 75 to 85% of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard the class laugh.
Yeah, it's when I first started teaching, I was like, can't be silly. You gotta get a briefcase, you gotta whatever. And then I would just be talking and like something would spill out and I'd be like, oh no, they're gonna fire me. But then I was realizing like that's truer to who I am.
Yeah.
And when I became truer to who I was, people were picking up the material I was trying to communicate better.
I think it's way good,
Yeah.
really good. You also tell. I've always been a chubby kid most of my life too, right?
Yeah.
So I think I don't even know if I got $1 for every time I did the truffle shuffle.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be rich right now for sure, and
yeah.
I would be the same in many ways. I'll try and play football and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm an asthmatic. I was no good at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I tried. Like I'd show up and do things, but it's kind of you just adapt to that, huh? It's when you don't have any course for it. I mean, my mother is a big woman. My father, my biological father, I think that he was fairly fit,
Mm-hmm.
but no one ever told me how to eat and what to eat. So I think I lived off Cocoa Pops, Coke, coffee from like the age of 5. You know what I mean? And Vegemite sandwiches. Like I'd Vegemite on toast, and I would dip my Vegemite on toast into my coffee and eat that while I'm watching cartoons in the morning.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's I never had that. I notice now, like with my boys, they have them working pretty hard. They do lots of MMA, jiu-jitsu, just because they're really really book smart. Like my boy just ate Fablehaven the series, and then went to Dragon Watch, and he's already halfway through that, and he started like 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Out of the whole,
nice.
he's a bookworm and he loves it. Speaks 2 languages.
That's amazing.
Like he's really heady, so I had to push him into something that's physical. But seeing them doing physical things, like they got these little bodies on them now. I'm like, hey, I never had that. It's kind of jealous,
Yeah.
But I've had to push him too to do it because he analyzes everything so much. And his deductive reasoning is like off the Richter scale. He'll literally, oh, that's dangerous, Dad. I don't want to do that, and he'll explain why.
Yeah.
So yeah, growing up like that's a bit different.
Yeah. Well, I remember you brought your boys to finals day in our video class, and I think it was your youngest son who was just giving like really spot on feedback to the video projects.
Oh yeah, he really was, huh?
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. No, I do too, man. They see me working at home, and I try to explain my final vision of the projects that I've worked on.
Yeah.
Especially like when we had them on that Mario thing that we did, and you can see it on the web. Yeah, and they they were right there with me, and actually they gave me a lot of feedback as I was building it. oh, Dad, you got to do this. You got to put this sound in. You got to, all right, all right, all right. Yeah, it's really cool. It's fun to see.
Yeah.
What as a beginning of your life, what was your first memory?
Okay, so my first memory is really nebulous at this point as I get older and older. But one of the first places we moved after we left California was we moved to Baltimore, and we were the only white family in this black neighborhood. And I remember this neighborhood had this very small playground. And there was, my brain says it's a treehouse, but I just remember that there was a raised platform that as a very small child I struggled to get into. And I have this memory of getting into it and being like cheered on by the other neighbors who were there and just feeling like very supported. And
Yeah.
I think that's a, like if you're going to have like a nebulous first memory, I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. How old do you think you were?
I would have been like 3.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
I think mine was on my 3rd birthday.
Okay, it's interesting how that like clicks in, huh?
Yeah. Well, I understand. Like, you're 9 months for a baby to develop to be before it comes out of the womb, and then I believe there's another 9 months before it even really starts to do anything.
Yeah.
That's fun, and then from that point onwards, there's another year after that, and then you start really getting faculties and things together and watching them do stuff. Which what I've noticed with my kids, it's been an absolute blessing for me to do.
Yeah, it's amazing. My younger sister has a child who's just turning 9. That's why I'm going up to Salt Lake. And then she has 2 twins who are, I want to say 3 now. And it's just amazing how they've like become these people suddenly,
Yeah.
And the personalities become so much more distinct, and how they communicate is different.
They're all different, and they're like, even as twins, they're both polar opposites, I'm sure, or very different, right?
Very different ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's cool like that. Actually, touching on Jack's my oldest one, Cole's my youngest one.
Okay.
Cole's very quiet. Like, he's a Virgo. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but he really thinks about things before he says it. Where Jack's pretty heady. He can work on the fly real fast. Mm-hmm. If I get him in the studio, it's Jack all day long. Cole won't want to. He'll make funny voices and all sorts of things, and talk real slow. But he gathers his thoughts. But he will speak up when it's a passion thing. So like that's why I think him. I was amazed with what he did in your class too, because that's something that he wouldn't say unless he really meant it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun to see that.
He was remarkably insightful, I thought.
Yeah.
So, and it was, I had to really try to keep myself from laughing, not because I thought it was bad, and that's why I had to stop, because I wanted to make sure that he wasn't like feeling weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, man, I spent 14 weeks with these people and none of them are pulling this stuff out.
Yeah.
And he shows up and is just like, well, have you thought about this? They should have.
Yeah.
They should have thought about that.
That's funny. So, well, he would have been 6 at that time.
Yeah. Well, he can take my class whenever he wants.
I love it. I love it. He, I had him all to myself from 2 years old onwards.
Oh, wow.
So I got him out of diapers and everything.
Yeah.
And with he and I feel sorry for him in so many ways, because I try to give the woman's touch. Like, I don't have it, but I will go out of my way. Like, we're gearing up to go to Universal. So all this week we've been snuggled up on the couch watching Fantastic Beasts and all that.
Cool.
It's just we're doing the 3rd one tonight. But I hold those moments for us for the hug. And every single morning we wake up, we're always hugs, love you, what's going on, Yeah. And I build that. But then when it's go time, like I got to go to work and I deliver packages. So they just jump in the back, and I have a wagon, so everything goes in the back of that. Sick. And they come with me, and I was like, right, this is your book time. Now you need to read. He's got a book on dirt bikes, and Jack's into Dragon Watch. So he'll sit there and read all day long. Jack humbles it. He started the 3rd book. He's already up to, what do you say, 2? He's on page 211, and he started 3 days ago. So he's into it.
Yeah.
Cole's on this dirt bike book, so 110 pages. I think he's in page 30 or something. He reads like he's just out cold. But I said to him, I said, you gotta train that. It's hard. It's the same for me too. It's something that you'll once you get it, you'll earn it and you'll understand it better. But I said this is the summer of no screens. No screens, guys.
Nice.
You're going to read books. You're going to help me clean the house because now you're old enough. We need to do this. And they're right now they're gearing up to turn 8 and 10. So
That's huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm so glad I took this time. No, I actually tried to go back to work just after my wife passed.
Yeah.
And it was just horrible. A few different things were happening. They were getting beaten up at daycares and that. And then I wasn't making enough money to put us into a house. So we had to move into an RV to make things work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't regret it at all. The RV just shows you how much you don't really need, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it also creates closeness. You know, it's like living in a small house versus a humongous house.
Absolutely.
We had a big, humongous house in Salt Lake up in Sandy, you know, the one of those 3-level split things, and it was awesome. I don't miss it. I mean, I'd like to have a normal room, maybe a decent house, just to see what it would be like again, to have that much freedom and have an office. An office is something I would really like.
Absolutely.
But being with them through these younger years, it's just, we're tight. We're so tight. You know, they understand me. Sometimes I'm a little grouchy, and if I overstep my boundaries, I always pull them aside. I'm like, hey, I overstepped my boundary then, and you guys need to know that no one should ever treat you like that, especially me.
Yeah.
You know, so we have an understanding, which has been quite interesting over the last few years.
And I think that's something that as they move towards adulthood, like those core values are going to stick with them. So
Man, I hope so.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think knowing one's worth is something that we never really told or taught. Especially from a young age, like with these guys, we go to the doctor. I don't say anything.
Yeah.
You tell him. I don't want to tell him. You know, if we see a cop, go up and shake his hand. Go say good day. You know what I mean? And okay, you know. And before, at first, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. You know, but it's like, dude, if you learn now, you'll never worry about it. Even if you hate doing it, learn to love it, and you'll have a better way of life later on.
I think that's huge.
Yeah. So, how many places at a young? So when was the first move for you, and then and what was that progression like with always moving versus how long did you stay in one place at a time for?
The longest we stayed anywhere was about 2.5 years as a kid.
Wow.
We stayed at a house in Silver Spring, Maryland. That was incredible. It was this fancy like colonial mansion that was part of. It used to be this set of dormitories for a girls' school that each one was this different like stylized building. So there was the colonial house, there was like a lighthouse, there was a pagoda.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the army had just purchased all of them and used it for family housing, and so we stayed there.
So you're a brat kid?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I was until I was 8, and then my dad passed. So.
Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That's tough. That's such a vital age too.
It really is.
Yeah. I think that's worse for you than what my kids had it. You know, like sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I like my sister. I want to say was because I was just shy of 8. I was like 2 months away from turning 8, and my sister is 2 years younger than me, and then my brother's 3 years younger than me, and so like I certainly have
the brunt
have my grief, but I feel a lot of pain for them too because their memories have got to be even more fragmented. So
oh man, that's like a year or so, maybe 2 years ago, my youngest come up to me one day and he realized that he doesn't remember mom.
Yeah.
Oh man, it just broke my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough.
Shattered me. But I tell him lots of stories, and always. But he does remember one thing about her, that before she passed, we went over just as COVID was kicking on. We flew to Florida, and went to Orlando, obviously the Disney World.
Yeah.
We're there, and I got some video footage of it. I'm so thankful for it. But my wife's there with Cole because Jack was off with one of our friends riding bigger rides because he was older. So Cole couldn't do much. So here he is in this little play area, and they got Chip and Dale. And they're all hanging about. But this one woman, she saw my wife, and she's wearing a headpiece because of all, you could tell she's got cancer, and she's not looking great. And this woman just kept pushing, grab Chip, we'll go grab Dale, we'll go grab Chip again. Hey, bring Dale back over. And then they signed this leaf. I got this big maple leaf.
Oh, wow.
I put it away. I got everything all put away. He didn't even know this until I told him the other day too, which it just blew his mind. Like, what are you going to do with it? So I'm going to put some pictures in it. We'll frame it up, when we get a house,
Yeah.
But that's the one memory that he has of her. And we maybe it's because I carried that memory a lot, so he could keep on remembering, But he was very young at that stage.
Yeah, I think that's so important to carry that torch for them.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, it's part of the reason what got me into even getting into film and stuff. I mean, I've loved film for ages. In my 30s, I quit excavating and doing all the sales and stuff just to go back to school and learn how to act. It was like I did it for over probably about 27 through approaching in my 40s.
Okay.
It was the most period of time that I made absolutely no money at all. I've never been so broke in my life. And I'm like, meanwhile, all my buddies around me, they're all making buku dollars,
Right.
And here I am trying to make we live in LA just scratching. It was so hard. But I mean, it built me to who I am now, so I don't regret it.
And I think anything like that, like anything performative, to do it, you have to love it.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in grad school and dealing with a lot of depression at the time. And this undergrad came up to me as I was filming a science lecture, because he was filming the same science lecture for a different person. We had just two independent jobs. We were recording the same lecture. It was really interesting too. It was about rhinoceros beetles and how the males, the size of their horn, apparently makes them more desirable for breeding.
Yeah.
But then there's a direct correlation in affecting their ability to fly. So the more desirable they are as a mate, like the less survivable they are.
That's crazy.
Isn't
Awesome.
that interesting?
Yeah.
But anyways, so he came up to me and was like, "Hey, I really, look up to you." And I was like, "I do." He was like, "Do you have any advice for me about grad school?" I was like, "Is there anything else you want to do instead?" And I was like, "And if there is, do that." But if we look at it, the other side of the coin, the non-depressed side of the coin, this is hard. Do it if you love it,
Yeah.
So, because there's going to be a lot of lean time to it, unless you're incredibly lucky, and most people are not incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
The grind is real.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's in the arts game, I would suggest start a YouTube channel and just start doing skits. Write your own skits, get 5 pages done, and get it out there and act it, perform it, do whatever you do. Try and make it funny if you can, because it's harder to do.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the better you get. I had, when we were down there, probably the most fun that I had, I did Meisner technique, which was absolutely mind bending, and I went through all the way through that with a guy called Joshua Baton, and he went through Rutgers underneath Bill, William Esper, and he was amazing. Like, that was like serious, really breaking down scripts and how to really become an actor. But then on the flip side, I worked with this guy Scotty in improv, and Scotty did what is it, the police academies. Okay, so do you know a police academy, the chubbier guy, they're in the gym, and the woman that's teaching him, she's a kick-ass cop she was absolutely gorgeous, with all the right curves in all the right places. She picks him out and grabs him and wrestles him and throws him down and ends up being on top, and her crotch is right in his face. She says, "Who's next?" And everyone's like, me. That's Scotty. And he's done so many amazing things. We would do classes with him, and then at certain points he would book spaces and just get us out on stage, and he would fill the place up. And man, that's where I came alive. Like, it was so much fun,
Improv's a blast.
I would just go for it, and I wouldn't even care, and I just get laughs. I don't know if they're laughing at me or with me or whatever. I didn't care. It was a ton of fun. I think that was way more rewarding, working that out. But then when you mix it with Meisner technique and things, you start getting something. Just as I was starting to get somewhere, we ran out of money, and I took all the credit out of it. It's like, we've got to go do something else.
Yeah.
It was hurting at that stage. But tell me, losing your dad. Can I ask what happened?
Yeah, he had a heart attack in the middle of a workout at the army gym. So,
Wow.
and it's pretty interesting because in the military you have your physical checkups, and he had maybe a month prior or so been commended for his physical health. Um,
Wow.
and so what happened was he had a pretty normal amount of bad cholesterol, but almost no good cholesterol. Like,
Oh.
and they weren't checking for that at the time.
Yeah, it
Like,
wasn't on anyone's radar, I
like
don't
yeah,
think.
like nowadays, like if he had been flagged, if he'd been tested, they would have been like, this is happening, and we need to fix this. Like it's a very like preventable modern problem, but one that sort of just slipped between the cracks.
Yeah. Going through that, did you come up with any coping mechanisms, or was it just hit and miss? I mean, that can't be easy at 8 years old.
No, I mean, I think it withdrew me. I think it reduced my trust in adults. I, my mom was going through her own grieving process. I mean, she was 30 when he died and had four kids, like,
That's a
and
lot.
she shut down. But I really think at that point, and then, some things happened with like adult relationships that she fostered that were not good for me. Um, but it built this sort of, I can only rely on myself. Um, and so I think it closed me off from people quite a bit,
Hmm.
which I think is safe but very lonely, and it took a lot of work to share things again, to let myself be vulnerable.
Yeah, that's not easy, man.
Yeah.
I've experienced many of that. Especially like once my wife passed. Her all of the family turned their back because we're not LDS
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then most of our LDS friends, like they're all gone. And then it was like, what do I do now? And then
Yeah.
I moved here not knowing anyone, which was probably a blessing, to be honest with you. And it was a great place just to hide out while I'm going through what I was going through.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hard to see the forest through the trees. And like what you said, the loneliness that comes with that it can be overbearing at the best of times. And like I've been working with my therapist about this actually, working with being alone versus being lonely. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you're lonely, or
Absolutely. Yeah.
to connect that's not easy.
Yeah. And it took a lot of work for me to not be around people and be lonely, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
So, um,
Wow. Yeah, sorry to hear that, man.
yeah,
That's tricky.
it is. And it, I think, has really influenced me as an artist, I sometimes joke that I was sort of traumatized into the arts. Uh,
Probably
yeah,
true.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I saw a meme once that was like just the right amount of trauma to be funny. Um,
Yep.
so something like that.
Yeah, most comedians are broken.
Yeah, but like my thesis project in film school was a film about my dad passing, and how, like, I don't remember much about him, but how I remember the viewing of his dead body as this like super vivid, super like crystallized,
Wow.
like just iceberg in my memory.
Yeah.
So
That kind of sucks.
it does. It
Yeah.
does.
We don't do much of that in Australia. Unless you really want it, they'll do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we didn't do it with my wife.
Yeah.
For 2 years, for a solid 2 years, I couldn't look at any of her cancer time.
Yeah.
I did, and I chose not to, and now I can look back and go, oh wow, she looks so gaunt,
Yeah.
But and for that 2 years, it's all I remembered her as.
Yeah.
But then now it's like now I just remember the good Annie,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think my mom probably felt pressured to show us the body and to like give us a
Yeah.
chance to say goodbye or whatever, because his passing was sudden and while we were asleep, and
Yeah.
um but the one takeaway I have from that is that wasn't him.
Yeah.
That was a husk of what he was, and
Yeah.
I'd never put that on anybody else. So
I love that you said that. It's even like if we go to visit my wife's grave,
yeah,
she's not there, man. I mean, her body's there. She's not there.
yeah,
I feel her in other things versus, and like the funny thing about her being gone is we go to Disneyland, like I was mentioning before.
yeah,
Um, and it's the weirdest thing. Like I'll get the app out and I'm looking and it's like, oh, Rise of Resistance is down, which is the Star Wars awesome ride. You'd love it. It's so immersive. It's crazy.
oh man.
Yeah, it's really cool. But then I'll be like, oh, it's down because it always breaks down because it's so high tech. But then I just feel like oh, maybe we should walk past there. And then we walk past there and it's like, opens back up again. And whether like the first one's on, which usually that's a 2 to 3 hour wait.
Oh, okay.
Like we went to Disneyland last time we went. We rode 14 of the biggest rides and a couple of them twice.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's in the summertime, which you don't get. You can't. It's crazy awesome. You touched on a part, and I don't want to say too much about it because I know it's probably a touchy scenario. But you said that there was a little bit of trauma with what the next steps were for who would step into that role versus just being around and things like that. I've deliberately not put my kids through that. There's been only one person that's kind of come close, and that's about it. You know what I mean? But I made it quite obvious that, you know what, this is not my time to have fun anymore. This is about me raising little boys and being there for them. I made sure that I didn't end up in the bottom of a bottle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'd really go out of my way for that stuff. I got rid of guns because no one needs that at that time of their life.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I just and just try to focus in on being home with them and working through it.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, I'm at the stage now where I'm very open to having a relationship with someone and building that somehow down the road.
Yeah.
And I think they're at a better place for it too.
Yeah.
The only thing I regret is maybe not having a mother figure around. I tried a couple of times, but it just didn't work. And then but I wouldn't have them around with the kids.
Yeah. I think you probably know what's best for you in that moment. I think as much as acutely as some of that stuff really affected me negatively, I think from like the 3,000-foot view, I really understand it. Like my mom being of that generation, like I think a woman was often like defined by being in a relationship, and like that's like the end game is and she had put a lot of her education aside to raise us, although she had started going back to school, which was pretty cool.
It's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, and then she got her PhD and finished it while she had an undiagnosed brain tumor. So I mean,
wow, that's
wild,
crazy,
right?
awesome. Yeah.
Um,
Where was she born?
She was born in Salt Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she has a background of Mormons and stuff like that, or being around them at least.
My whole family on both sides
LDS
was LDS. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. That's all that they know is once you're come of age, your end goal is go on a mission or get married.
Yeah.
Get married, start having kids, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think some of that has modernized, but
absolutely,
but definitely
for that time period, I'm sort of saying.
And so I think there was that sort of first just cultural imprint, and then she was at easily her most emotionally, mentally vulnerable, and a bad person took advantage of that. So
ouch.
And there are predators who are very good at concealing that nature until it's too late, and like it's kind of any sort of bad relationship, you can reach this point where it feels normal even if it's not. Like I had a bad relationship that ended, and then it took me a long time to be like, oh, that wasn't good at all.
Right, and it takes a long time because once you link up,
Yeah.
you're yoked.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
Yeah, and I remember I was in my car once and really stressed out, and I was like, well, the good news is at some point one of us will die, and then either way I won't have to worry about it anymore.
Wow.
And like that thought, like I was like, okay, that I can do that. And then it ended, and I'm like, wow, I was really in a dark place.
Yeah.
And so like I think sometimes the term you can't see the forest for the trees. I just feel like it's sort of the reverse. You can't see the trees because of the forest.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you can't see the individual red flags.
yeah.
In a big red desert
Yeah,
or
if
something.
everything's red, it just looks like flags.
Yeah. That's so true, man. That's what actually brought me to this town.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we were in Blanding. Sorry to get cut you in the story, but we were in Blanding, and this is probably about 4 or 5 months after my wife passed. And this woman reaches out to me and she says, "Oh, hey, I knew your wife." I'm like, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Yeah, we used to go to school with her." I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." And this chick was hot. I'm like, "Wow, cool." And what's going on here? And I was hurting, so hurting.
Yeah.
And she just started encroaching on what I got going on, and before you know it, like I'm kind of dating her, and then I just couldn't work out. It was my instinct was saying run.
Yeah.
Run, but then things happen, and especially once intimacy comes into it, it just clouds everything, man. It's like that's actually one thing I like about the churches. They say, don't do that until it's time. I promise you guys, the bits work. They work really well.
Yeah.
They work too well, actually. And when you have that clouding, you can hide anything within that. It's like the smoke screen,
Yeah.
And that's what happened with me. And this dragged on for like maybe 3-4 months. But in that 3 and 4 months, I was getting trumbled through the dirt. But I think the thing that come out of it was I was starting to deal with the actual grief I was going through, thinking it was this woman. So it was it was really bad. Anyway, but it dragged me out to here just so I could see what she was actually doing. And I was right. It wasn't a good scenario.
Yeah.
She had other ulterior motives and things like that, which is it's fine. That's it's the life choices that she had put upon her, and she had used them for herself as well. I'm in a better place for it now, but it's like what you say. It's like you don't know what you went through until you get through it, and then until the day you start listening to some good music again, and you start whistling, and you're like, "Whoa, I'm whistling."
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you glance back, and you're like, "Whoa, I'm so lucky to dodge that bullet," which is so crazy. Because and then it's times it's like you say, you'll just I just want to be with someone, and just feel wanted somewhere is so huge. You'll suck it up and be with someone for that amazing, crazy time. Yeah, it's a good lesson learner, but it's a hard one to go through.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So coming through that, we can fast forward a bit if you want.
Sure.
You guys moved around, so you're in Maine at that stage when your dad passed?
So we were in Georgia.
Georgia. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were in Columbus, Georgia. He was working out of Fort Benning, which is one of the Army bases. And then we moved to the Salt Lake area because my dad had just died. Yeah. And so my mom needed that support network. And so I lived in Salt Lake really like through my 20s. So I went to most of my school there, got my undergrad there, and then didn't move until I went into graduate school. And then I just sort of turned into an Army brat again, basically, and moved bam again.
Yeah, on your own accord though.
Yes.
Yeah, which is really cool. What now? Salt Lake's pretty artsy, actually. I'm quite surprised on how much art comes out of there.
Yeah.
What got you into film? Because you're into that now in a rapid rate. What was the first inkling for that? Like you did it. Obviously, you're doing acting, going through your adolescence, right?
Yeah. So I forgot how words work. When I was 12, my mom put me in like a theater camp over the summer, just because you needed to find things for your kids to do.
Yeah.
And I took to that really well. Like I really liked comedy, especially, and improv. And so I started doing that through middle school and high school, and was dealing with some depression stuff in high school that, I mean, has chased me my whole life, but I have developed better mechanisms for,
Yeah.
for working through it, But when I left high school, I was like, okay, well, now I'm a man. I need to do man things. I'm going to get a suit, so I was like, I'm going to put these childish things aside. And so I went to school and I really like bounced around a bunch of different degrees. I got my 2-year degree in 6 years because I I just couldn't make a decision. Like I started as like I'll be a graphic designer, and I realized I hated drawing outside of like doodling for pleasure. Um, and then I was like, okay, perfect. I'll be an American Sign Language interpreter, and
Wow.
I liked the language, but I really hit like a comprehension ceiling pretty aggressively.
Yeah, you got to be on it with that stuff, huh?
Yeah,
Hmm.
especially if you're going to be interpreting, because in the deaf community, it's like as an interpreter, you're basically not there. You're just a verbal extension of that person, and
Animate.
you need to animate. You need to translate exactly what's being said. And I think it's really covered really well in the book Subculture Vulture by Moshe Kasher. So if you're ever interested in learning about the deaf community, one of his chapters is about that because he grew up a coda, a child of a deaf adult.
Wow.
And so then he became an interpreter through his 20s and talked about some of that different stuff.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and then I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I took a video production class, just like a news production class, like you took with me. And I was like, whoa, this is so much fun. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll work in a newsroom. I'll become a news director or something. And then I took a film class, and I was like, oh no, I like this way better.
More control.
Well, just more creativity,
Yeah.
Like with the news, there's first off, there's a lot of honor in the news, like we're trying to communicate information in a way that's digestible, accessible,
Unbiased.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that lends itself to a degree of dryness. Like you have to find the story that has that, or you have to find what the story is. Whereas, if you get to create the story, like it gets to be generated from this place inside. And I really hadn't realized how much I missed creative arts until I let myself go back into creative arts. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's sort of how I got into film, was through a lot of resistance to doing anything creative, until I realized the only thing I can do is something creative, because I won't be happy otherwise.
No, I like that, man. That's so cool. And the hardest thing about my road and looking at your road, you kind of just went into that. Like from the get-go, there was no other skills as far as oh wow, you could go operate an excavator and make $1,000 a week, right?
Yeah, nothing like that. No.
Yeah, that's what I was faced with. So from the age of 18, once I knew I could knock out an excavator job anywhere in the world, I can work anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And make top dollar for as far as the worker goes.
Definitely.
So then I'm coming into like the arts, and I'm trying to put all the arts together. And then when the time comes, they're like, "Oh, hey, we want you on this project." I was like, "Great, yeah, I've got to pay my mortgage. How much is that paying?" "Oh, no, it's free." It's like, I've got to go pay my mortgage, So I'd go build a house or do dirt work and stuff. And that, I honestly believe that's what held me back. I think I would probably be still down in LA if I just gave all that up and went for it,
Yeah, but it's that sort of that gilded cage, right?
It's so hard.
And there are all those sort of people who are like, I'm just going to do this job until I make it big. And then they're like, oh wait, this job gives me benefits and pays okay. I'm just gonna be a UPS driver.
Oh man.
And first off, I don't think there's any shame in that,
No.
right? I think this world is full of mechanisms that needs every part.
Yes. Yes.
So, and I think there are lots of people who don't define themselves by what they do. They define themselves by their other interests. Like, I'm very lucky to have had some adults in my life who I view as just additional parents, and one of them worked in a warehouse and the other one worked like admin for an insurance company, and that wasn't like who they were. You know, they were softball players and dog owners and hikers and rock collectors, you know, and that was their identity, you know. For me, what I do is a big part of my identity, and so I couldn't just do that. So, you
know, I have a thing for that, and I believe you, like I said, same outlook as what you got on that is, there goes my hero. He's ordinary. You know, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
You know, I think that of like some of my best friends, they grind that job out. But you're right. They go fishing, they go hunting, they go do all this stuff that I don't really do, and I'm not really into. Versus I love to do what I love to do, and that's what I'll do all day long.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's each their own. Do what you want. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at people like that and just think, blow my brains out. Mm-hmm. You are my hero because I could never do it. You know, but they show up for the kids. They're doing all this stuff. I'm in such a interesting part of my life. You know, I'm going in as a senior right now. Once I finish this, and then I'm out in the world on my own. And how do I make money? You know what I mean? Like I don't know how this works out for us. But you know, we're in a good scenario so far for where we're at, and I know I'll put it together when I get there. I suppose just got to get better at this.
You know, come back as a calm grad student. Yeah. Start teaching some radio classes.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad actually. I would love if that was the case. I would come back and probably take on the podcasting side, because we got no one here doing podcasting. Like everything that I've done, it's all me. So I'm putting all this together. Ryan's been amazingly awesome to help me out along the way. But every time we hit a wall, he's like, I could teach you how to call a game. It's like, yeah, you could. And he's really good at it. Like he's such a great talker. He's got the great voice for it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think the one thing I'm so thankful for is when I started this class, it was so daunting to me. I'm like, I'm going to jump out of this class. But I really needed to know how to do the edits.
Yeah.
So then it was death by fire. But I think by the third radio shift that I had on here, he and I had already talked. And I said to him, I want to do some interviews. He goes, all right, I'll get you one. So my third one, he got me one that showed up late, 10 minutes into my end of my shift. Did a quick interview, and then that was it. I was hooked. Like I really, really enjoy it. Like I have such a curiosity to people's lives and what you've gone through and what I've gone through. You know, I think it's great. Yeah. People need to hear it. We don't talk about it enough.
No, and it's interesting because, I knew some very like loose things about your life, but it's so interesting to see where our Venn diagrams intersect.
Yeah.
You won't see that unless you're having those conversations.
Yeah, I appreciate that actually. That's really cool. Okay, so what dragged you all over the country doing what you want to do? Was it grad schools? Is that what got you moving?
So grad school was the first thing, because I knew I got my bachelor's from the University of Utah. And the University of Utah is a good graduate program in film, but I knew I didn't want to stay there. And so I cast a pretty wide net and almost went to Florida State in Tallahassee.
Oh, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the hour. You're on KSUU. This is Thunder 91 and Cedar City. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Thunder 91 is such a good station.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many students we've interacted with who've come through here. Like, and a lot of them moved over to film. They were part of our first film cohort, like Gravy Hutchings and Megan Newbold and stuff. So,
you're doing stuff over there too, huh?
Yeah. It's It's very satisfying. That's why they hired me to begin with, is they knew they were building the film program, and so I was always going to have this sort of joint appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk about that in a second. Let's keep going. How you got out of? So
Oh,
you,
yeah,
so you,
yeah.
you graduated at the U.
I sort of forgot what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
no,
so
sorry
I was
about
just
that.
like rolling with the punch.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So yeah, I almost went to Florida State. They have a really good film program. I think I would have been pretty miserable in Tallahassee, Florida, though. And so then I went to the University of Montana, which was a smaller program and definitely left me with fewer opportunities, but I realized I wanted to teach. And part of that was kind of desperation. I was like, I think I'm too weird to be successful.
I think you're perfect in teaching, man.
Well, I mean, I was like, so I need to have like this like safe zone, you know?
Yeah.
Turns out like you can be weird and creative and be very successful, but also I feel like I'm maybe still like a little too mentally ill to really commit to fame, you know?
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
You know,
That's
like
true. That's valid.
It takes a level of commitment that like I love what I do, but sometimes I just need to lie down and close my eyes and hold my dog, you know, like until the wolves in my head kind of shut up. So
yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
And so I wish that was mine, but that's from the book The Power of One, which is one of my favorite books by an Australian author, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, Bryce Courtenay.
Oh, I have to check it out.
Yeah. It's about South Africa, but he's Australian.
Yeah. We sound similar. They're more serious. We're more jokey.
So I knew I wanted to teach. I love universities. Like, I just love being on campus, and you know, each one's like a little just
city on its own,
microcosm. You know, like it's incredible. And so I knew I'd have opportunities to teach there, and sure enough, from 5 out of my 6 semesters, I was involved in the teaching of a class in some way. You know,
nice.
And made my art and learned really, because it was kind of a limited program, how to make something out of nothing, you know, which I think is also really good. We've had in the film program, we've had faculty who went to AFI. We've had faculty.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's great. We've had faculty who got their masters from the U and have had extensive professional stuff. And I think all that's huge. I think what I bring to that program, though, is this like, all right, well, this is what you have. How do we do something? You know?
Yeah. Can-do attitude.
And I think you need all of those things, right? So I went to Montana knowing that I wanted to teach, and so then I just went where the teaching jobs were, because you think about how many universities are in the U.S. You know, there's a lot of them, but there's not an infinite amount of them, right? And then you think about which ones have film programs, then suddenly we're narrowing it, right?
Yeah.
And then we're looking at programs that have film faculty needs. Yeah. And then like there's different like tiers based on like what you accomplished, right? And so like straight out of grad school, like my efficacy as a candidate was very narrow. And so I used to joke that I would go to Antarctica University if they would give me the shot. So
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd teach penguins. Wait, are penguins in Antarctica?
They are, but I think the emperor ones are up north, aren't they?
Yeah, those are the ones I would want to teach.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the good penguins.
The other ones are smaller.
Yeah,
they're just white and black. They haven't got the colors.
They're not gonna want to learn film.
Yeah. Discrimination. I love it.
But so I went to a community college in Northwest Louisiana. I went to Bossier Parish Community College.
Wow.
Which I learned in the South, a lot of places don't have counties; they have parishes. So if we were in Louisiana, we'd be an iron parish.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for 4 years, and then was getting a little wanderlusty. You know, like I was just trying to figure out what the next move was, because it was a non-tenure track position, And so then there was a job open for a 3-year lecturer in film in South Texas at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. So that was in a place called Edinburgh, Texas, which is basically 20 miles north of the Mexican border.
Oh, wow. Hot,
Yeah.
hot, hot.
Yeah, super, super hot. I would drive my car to work and I would step out and my glasses would fog up.
Hot and steamy.
Yeah.
So, like, is that near Houston area or is it down
it's
further?
way further south than
Yeah.
Houston.
I've been to Laredo. I used to go to Laredo a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was closer to Mexico than I was to any other major city in Texas.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was crazy too because it was the only place when I would leave, they had a checkpoint and they'd check my car to make sure I wasn't moving people.
Yeah.
And it really stressed my dog out because they had
their dogs and everything.
These big like.
There's no joke down there too. Hey, that's like some. I used to pull out. I used to drive trucks here when I first come over.
Okay.
And I'd go to Laredo, do the same thing.
Yeah.
And we would come. We weren't allowed to cross the border, so we'd just park and sit there idling in our trucks, roasting like chickens.
Yeah.
And then the Mexican guys would come up and take the trailer across the border. And by the time the trailer would come back with bald tires.
Yeah.
Because they would swap everything out while they were over there and load our truck and then off we go. But you wouldn't know what you had on you, you know what I mean? So yeah you'd pull through. They would just go the works over you. And like you say, there's dogs, they got mirrors, they got everything.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
They really don't. It's quite scary.
And I really liked it there. It was crazy because it was the first time in my life that like I was like a demographic minority. Like I think it was 85% Latinx people there, you know?
Yeah.
And my classes would be like 99% like people of Mexican origin, you know?
Yeah.
To the point where when I came here, I was so accustomed to doing like that is the first. I was like, man, when I gave my teaching down, I was like, there's a lot of white people here.
There really is.
Like, man, a lot of honkies.
Yep.
But because I mean, I'd come from Louisiana where it was really like 50-50, and then the place that was again like fully like Latino, Latina, like to a pretty white place. It was very startling. But I was doing roll for the first time, and you know, I always try to say names correctly, and I was like Tomas, and he goes, "It's Thomas." I was like,
"That's
boy." So I went down there, and I really liked it, but they had opened up a tenure track position down there, and I applied for it, and they didn't even talk to me in like the preliminary interview, and it turned out the dean of the arts was like, I don't want an internal candidate. And the person they hired, let me be clear, was super deserving and should have gotten the role.
Good.
Like,
I love that.
Yeah. Like he was a documentary maker from Hungary who had all these awards and stuff. It was amazing.
So he was an asset to them.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
Yeah, but I feel like if I was good enough to be hired for something, I think I should have been in the discussion.
At least.
And there's at least one of the candidates who they brought in who I was like, well, I'm better than that guy. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna coast, I guess.
It hits you a little bit when you get like done like that. It's kind of like a chink in the arm, like, oh, well, what do I do now?
Yeah, and I was like,
I'm not worthy here.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I was in a position that had very little responsibility, and so I was like, well, I guess I'll just
bounce.
Yeah, I'll just, you know, I'll do my time, you know, I'll get paid, I'll disappear into my office. My office was so hard to find. It was this decommissioned sound booth that was behind the TV studio and adjacent to this room that they used as storage for all these theater props.
So they kind of just knocked it up for you.
So I would walk through this this storage room filled with those Mexican street puppets, those like 6 foot tall ones that they hold with the poles. It was a lot to take in at first. But I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll kick my feet up and I'll coast for the next 3 years. And then I was like, I don't want to do that. And that's about the time I started doing more work with the Aquabats. And I was like, look, my stock, this might be as good as I get. So I got to see if there's something else. And so I applied to a few things, and I interviewed here, and I interviewed at a school in Minnesota, Metropolitan State University. And I've never been as cold as I was when I went to Metropolitan State University, because my interview was it was like a week after Valentine's Day.
Oh wow, February, here we go.
and I lived on the surface of the sun, and so like
juxtaposition.
You know, well, and it's like I didn't have a coat. I left my coat in Salt Lake because I was like, well, if I'm gonna have snow, it'll be when I visit my family over Christmas or whatever. Like in December, you would see butterflies in Texas.
Yeah.
You know, like where I was. So I bought the warmest jacket I could and the warmest gloves. Like I was rated for like 25 degrees or something like that. I get to Minnesota, I wake up in my hotel room and I look at my weather app and it says that it's negative 15 degrees. I'm like, well, that's not right.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I opened up the cloth just to look outside, and the cold was radiating through the glass and like burning my skin. So I had to close it back up. But I really liked that place. And then a month later, I came here and interviewed, and they offered me the job. And I was like, how do I not move here?
This is perfect for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you fit right in too. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it was just, I never thought like that I would be by my family again, you know?
Yeah.
And it's been really meaningful for me because right when I went to grad school, my oldest sister was the only one of us who had kids. And so her youngest kid was 6 at the time. But I had been actively involved with her kids the whole time. And then my little sister started having kids, and her oldest kid was born when I was living in Louisiana, and so I didn't see her very often. You know, like the stranger danger would kick in and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
And now we're great.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, I hate this. I hate that I'm not
a
part of her life. Like in that, you know, I'm just gonna be like a Christmas present or whatever. And so it's been really nice because I've been here for the whole time with the twins, and like they know me. And, you know, even if something comes up in my life where I'm like, now it's time to start a new adventure, I feel like I've done everything I need to do with my family. So
how long have you been here for now?
This will be my 6th year. I started I started in 2019. I started pandemic year.
Oh man, that would have been an adjustment, huh?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like and crazy to be in the middle of a video production class, and they were just like, because here's what happened. They were like, everything's fine, but just think about how you might go remote with your classes.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, it's video production. I'm not sure what to do. And then like a week later, Governor Herbert's like, we're staying at home, and they're like, we're doing this. It was a huge
adjustment.
Shift. Yeah. And just bonkers. Although not the weirdest experience I've had as a teacher. But
explain that one then.
So I had a student who stopped showing up because he died. So that was a pretty crazy one.
Wow.
And just students had to be like, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but like so and so died. And I was like, oh man, I don't know what to do.
That's horrible.
And yeah, I mean, he was a good kid too. He had type 1 diabetes and couldn't afford to treat it anymore. So
oh man, that's so silly.
Yeah, it's I mean, like at that school, like the amount of poverty that we were experiencing, just unreal.
That's the one thing about traveling around here. Like, this is amazing to live. This is good. This is easy living. Utah's very easy living.
Yeah.
Even it's hard, but it's easy. You know, you go down to the south, You don't
Yeah.
realize how much poverty's in this country.
Oh man.
That's so wrong. It's
Yeah.
I can't understand it. I don't know how. Why do we send all this money overseas and why do you fix Memphis first or something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, in Bossier City, there were so many places they didn't even have sidewalks. Like,
That's
and people are
ridiculous.
just walking in the streets because they can't afford cars. I'm like, we need one of these things. We need public transportation that's not garbage, or we need sidewalks. Like,
Yeah.
and they're like, no, thank you. We just won't do either. Um, and then I had a student who must have had like a seizure or something in the middle of a film. I don't know how long he had been like out, but when I dismissed the class, he didn't leave, and I thought he was like holding back these emotions, and I didn't realize it. And I was like,
no.
oh, now I know what's happening. So then I called 911, and EMTs came and retrieved him, and he's okay. So that was like my first year as a teacher, like pretty unreal.
Death by fire.
Yeah, like,
wow.
So I'd say those are the weirdest experiences I had as a teacher.
When you were in Texas,
Yeah.
you said you were a part. You were a part of something, and you said that's probably the most clout you ever had. What was that?
So there's a musical group called the Aquabats.
Yeah.
They have a lot of popularity in Utah because of they just
Because they like that sort of
they
stuff.
tour a lot in Utah.
Yeah.
A lot of the members are LDS, so there's that
Clean performance.
Yeah, it's a family show. They dress up in like superhero costumes.
I think I've heard of them actually. What did you do with them?
I wrote some episodic stuff for them. So back in 2014, I want to say, they had a TV show that ran for 2 seasons. They won an Emmy for it.
Wow.
Called the Aquabats Super Show, and it's great because they would like fight crime and stuff, and they made it like really like old school, like it'd be like monsters in big foam suits, like.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Anyway.
And a buddy of mine who's a producer. Oh, it's interesting because he's working on a movie adaptation of Fablehaven. Just going back to what you were talking about with
excellent. My son's really looking forward to that.
But he was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of the Aquabats?" And I was like, "I sure have." And he's like, "Do you want to work on their stuff?" And I was like, "I sure do." And so I wrote a spec script for them because they were trying to start the show back up, and that didn't work out, but they did some internet content, and they hired me to do that. And so they did 12 episodes, I think, and I wrote 4 of them.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And it's cool because like I did some consult stuff on the crowdfunding campaign, and so now my IMDb page has Jack Black as part of my credits.
Yeah,
and
I
so
saw that. Yeah, you have 20 credits on there.
Oh, do I?
Yeah. I think
mean,
that's
a lot
cool.
of it is just like the short films I did in grad school, like Mountain Man, Jones, or whatever. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting how many people will work on a project if you're like, yeah, I'll get you an IMDb credit.
Yep. That was the same as if you could get a Taft-Hartley doing something in LA,
Yeah, but it's like it's interesting because it all it takes to get an IMDb credit is to submit a film to a festival that's IMDb rated. You don't even have to get into the festival. Just a little trick of the trade for those of you trying to make films. But yeah, so I'd been working on that, and so I knew that I had some credibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I knew it was time to take a swing, and I really wanted to be part of something that it mattered if I was there, and I really liked my time at UTRGV, but I was very clear that it did not matter I was there.
Yeah.
I am certain to this day that I could have taught my video editing class there and been like, hey, if none of you guys show up, I'll give you all B's at the end of the semester.
And no one would have showed up.
I bet.
Wow.
Um,
That's wild.
well, because the film program was part of the theater program, and so they had certain classes like video editing that theater students were required to take too. The idea being that then they could edit their own reels. But man, it was palpable how much they didn't want to be there most of the time. So
That should be fun.
I think it's the best. You know,
I think it's daunting when you're first looking at it. It's so daunting. That first thing I ever did was that Mario thing. That was it. Like that's the first thing I wrote, directed, and edited.
I mean, I don't know. I guess some people think it's hard, but I think it's so much fun to do all those things.
It's fun for me when I'm in it.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I'm physically doing the motions of doing it.
Yeah.
That like when I'm in it, it's great. But when I'm like, as I'm walking towards it, I'm already constructing. Well, now I'm constructing it as I'm walking towards it,
Yeah.
and I see the final picture. And then once I get into it, that's when it's like a little bit procrastination. Once I start, then I'm like, oh, like a wolf to food.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to be part of something where it mattered that I was there, and so for me, I had a feeling that would be a tenure track position. So I was looking at tenure track positions, and sure enough, you know, like my presence in sort of both my communities in communication and in film, like it matters and it has weight, and that's intimidating at times. Like I didn't realize at first like what that meant, and it's a lot of responsibility, you know, to be part of the university community in a meaningful way, but one that I wouldn't ever want to change, you know, like because again, if what I do is part of who I am, like I want what I do to be something meaningful.
So. Yeah, instead of being hidden away in a closet, there used to be a sound booth.
Guarded by the puppets.
Yeah.
So.
No, well, we definitely don't have that now. Did you get tenure here, or were you on that track for that?
Yeah. So they had me apply for tenure a year early, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was awarded tenure last year. And so this year I'm officially tenured as of July. So now I'm an associate professor instead of an assistant professor. I no longer have to assist anyone.
Congratulations!
I can just associate with people.
That's really cool. That's hard to find, and it's hard to come across.
It is. It's a very rare position now.
Yeah.
Rare opportunity. A lot of schools are moving away from the tenure process, and I certainly can respect some of the motivation behind it, because there are definitely some vulnerabilities that get exploited by tenure.
Big time.
And I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have something against that somehow. I don't know how that works, but
I mean, I think it's. I definitely respect that there's protection, though. You know, like that, because, like, for example, I think SUU is very good at being like very clear about protecting academic freedom, stuff like that. I had a student file a complaint against me because in one of my classes I included a clip from Last Week Tonight, and they were offended that John Oliver used the F word.
Oh, wow.
And
that's current though. We're all adults here, right?
Yeah. Well, and I was like, first off, I gave you an option for something else to watch if you didn't want to watch this, and second, it was germane to what I was talking about. And even if there is bad language, it is clearly expressed material. So like I went in and I was like, look, I know what I did is valid because I found the material that speaks to me, and I warn people about it. Like I show films, so like I've learned that I want to disclaim things, you know, because I tell my students in anything creative, I'm like, look, this is a creative safe space with some exceptions. Like you're not going to make an adult movie, you're not going to make a snuff film.
Sure.
But if there's something that speaks to you and you want to communicate it, I'm going to give you that space.
Yeah.
But what I want from you is I want you to warn us what's going to happen, you know, because there's going to be, I might not have a problem with someone's head getting cut off and you might, right?
Yeah.
So if there's graphic violence in your film, I want you to be like, hey, before we start this, there's this. And I want to give anyone who needs that time to step away.
Yeah,
you know?
I couldn't see you forcing anyone to sit through anything like that.
No.
And like you said, you gave them another option.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd the university handle it?
I mean, I didn't hear anything about it because
Good.
it was nonsense. Because the university is very clear about their support.
Yeah.
You know.
Can I just touch on one thing?
Yeah.
You know, you go to other universities, and I've been to many, like, you know, just touring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And watching shows and things, like you go to a black box performance, whatever the case. Man, if the script says the guy's butt naked, he's buck naked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you see. And I've been in plays where I had to deny some roles because I wasn't willing to go down that far. And
Yeah.
I lost jobs because of it.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes this is what it is. It's the real world.
I think it's definitely okay for you to understand what your boundaries are and respect those. And it's also like with the understanding that the world will proceed without you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I think so too, you know?
You know, I just touch on that for 2 seconds. I will say, my mother years ago, when I was over here, she's funny, you know, she sends like funny memes and things. And this is just email memes at the time. She sends me this email and this guy, it's a death thing, you know, like it's like a train in India or whatever, and a guy's on top of the train with his electric cables, and he stands up and all he sees is a green flash and then dust. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I literally emailed her back, I never want to see this. I never want to see anything with death. Yeah. Life's hard enough as it is. I don't, you know, like some people have horror films. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just things I don't need to keep in mind because everything I see, it's just, I'm such a visual person, you know, I live through it when I see it. Yeah. So I draw lines at that. I had a guy just recently, a good friend of mine from home when we were kids. He sent me something of, oh, yeah, that's right. It was a car running over this guy, you know. I mean, I was like, oh, I didn't want to see that, man. Yeah. He's like, oh, come on, it's fun. It's like, no, it's not. Yeah, each their own. But I will stand up and say, hey, I don't like that. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not offended. Just, you know, please don't send me any more of that.
Yeah, I think being clear about your values is huge.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's good to have those boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, good for you to even have there's an option for that and not and for someone just to go out and want to bury you in it. I mean, especially when you're such a funny guy to work with. You know, you're not a hard teacher to deal with at all. Actually, whenever I've had issues, I would just say, hey, Bill, like I'm going to miss that deadline, and you're like, okay, how are you going to make it up? Yeah. You know, and we come up with a strategy and a plan, and you're easy to work with. So I don't understand how someone could even go out on that limb to sort of bury you with that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think he just was looking for fights to pick and just moral high grounds.
Good luck in life.
Yeah, you know, that's sort of. I was just glad that chapter closed and I didn't have to deal with him anymore. But you know, like tenure, like. Because I was non-tenured, if there had been more backlash, I could have just been terminated, right? Whereas like tenure gives me that protection where I have the ability to state my case. Yeah. Where I can be like, look, I can understand where this person is coming from, but this is where I'm coming from. Yeah. And
you provided other opportunities.
Yeah. But I mean, there's definitely been some instances on campus here where I've seen tenure protect people that
probably should
makes
be
me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I won't bring them up because I don't know what their status is or anything like that. And
sure.
I'm not
even going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I'm not here to burn bridges or whatever. But
when I started school at USU, so I left high school in 13, I was 13, 14, right around there. I left because I was really good at school at all. I mean, I didn't even read at the time, you know, it was hopeless. But I went back and I got my GED and ended up at USU, and that's where I met my wife. Anyway, there was a guy there, a teacher, and he was actually a really cool dude, but he had been there for a million years. He had tenure and everything else, and he got to the point where he just didn't care.
Mhm.
So he just dragged his position and everyone around him as down into the mud as much as he could, and he laughed and gloated about it. So in that aspect, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
There should have been some like a clause where you could buy him out,
Yeah.
pay him off, and get him out of there, because they were really just like, can we just get this guy out of here now?
And the good news is, I think there is, a greater focus and accountability with modern tenure, and there have been some revisions to it.
Right.
But there is definitely, like, when people are like, well, what about X? I'm like, look, I understand where you're coming from. That's rough.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, rock on. Well, congratulations on the tenure. That's a good thing. I think you are an asset. I think that's a good thing to have you being here and doing that.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest accomplishments of my life, and one that, especially where the first 5 years of my career were in non-tenure track positions, I sort of doubted that I'd ever accomplish it.
Especially in your field.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
It is. So.
But like you say, you come in here, you satisfy two sides. You're in the communications and you're in the film studio as well. So are they using you more over there now, or are you still in between?
It depends on the semester. I would say in the fall, I have a workload that leans more towards comm, and in the spring I have a workload that leans more towards film.
That makes more sense.
Just based on need, basically.
I think that would be better too, because it's fun to film in spring. Like there's an energy about it. Fall, it's like, ugh, we've got to do this for the next 4 weeks or whatever, you know, in the snow and everything else around here. But coming into the spring, you're like, hey, just a little bit more snow, and then we're done.
Yeah. It's the best.
You can finish strong.
Yeah.
How's everything been for you so far living in Southern Utah?
It's been not bad. So the one thing about the pandemic is that it brought a lot of people here, which I'm sure you've noticed.
Yeah.
And I don't think Cedar City was built to accommodate this many people, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's done a few things. It's made every like house price just explode, which is crazy. Like, if I had started my job a year later, I wouldn't have been able to afford a house. Like, it's insane. And there's just not the amenities to support the amount of people here, you know. Like, I feel like with a small town, the advantage you have is that it's slow and sleepy, right?
Yeah.
And with a big city, you have access to all these things.
Many things.
Like, I love visiting Salt Lake because I'll go to the Asian markets and I'll, do this and this and this, things that I cannot do when I'm here. Even in St. George, like, there's, like, it's, St. George has 100,000 people, but it's not meant for that, so it doesn't have the infrastructure, Like, driving around St. George
that's horrible.
Is an exercise in self-flagellation, It's, I had to remember that I signed a thing that said I wouldn't swear, so I had to creatively.
I like that.
Restructure my language.
Good save right there.
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get you canned. But so you put up with all the people because at least you have these cool things, Yeah. And I feel like Cedar City right now is kind of not quite like the worst of both worlds, but like it just. Parts of it kind of suck a little bit.
It's still got the good old boy mentality.
Yeah.
While it's trying to grow into this, this area. Now, look, I love Cedar City, and majority of the people here are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But let's face it, the people that are coming here are all from California, right? And there's three spots where they'll land, right? They'll either go Salt Lake because they want the full experience of winter time and have a city still. So it's either Salt Lake, but if they don't like the cold, then it's St. George. If they can't afford St. George, well, guess what? It's Cedar City. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we kind of get the people that are coming here for certain reasons, whatever the case is. Yeah. The thing that I don't like about this place is I don't know if anyone knows how to do asphalt here at all, but every time they cut a hole in the ground, it ends up being a speed hump because they overfill it or something, and actually you're bumping over it. I've had to get my car aligned twice being here, and it doesn't make any sense.
Oh man!
And then, and maybe because the traffic is getting bigger and bigger, it's like, where's all the right turning lanes? Can we have some right turning lanes, please? Like, there's a lane there, but the cops can actually book you for using that lane to turn right.
Yeah, because it's just
because it's not dedicated as a shoulder.
Yeah, I think the roads don't accommodate the amount of people we have. But like it's crazy because like the beginning of the semester, I'll go to the store and I can't buy pasta, because like it's just gone. Like we don't have the resources for 50,000 people.
I think for 6 months straight, Walmart wouldn't sell half and half. And I love half and half in my tea. You know what I mean? It's like, where's the half and half?
It's crazy.
They just got it back.
Hey, well, there you go.
I know.
They heard your cries finally.
Yeah.
So like things like that, I kind of shake my head a little bit, but it's beautiful here.
Oh, yeah.
So although I don't know if I've lived anywhere as windy, this is the only place I've lived where I have to tether my garbage can to a metal stake in the ground so that it doesn't blow away. And I've forgotten to tie it down. And
good luck
after a storm, like I'll look and it's down the street because I live like in the middle of a hill and it's just been like sailing down to the intersection.
That's because of St. George blows and Parowan socks, right?
That's right. But yeah, it's beautiful. I love being so close to Bryan Head.
Yeah, it's pretty up there.
Yeah,
good hiking.
Yeah, my fiance and I will go there probably 2 or 3 times a month, just because in the summer especially it's so much cooler there.
But the wildflowers and things there, man, they're amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Like you go there, and they're like the tailored walks. You don't have to be uphill, downhill.
No.
There's some that will just walk you around. It's gorgeous, man. Yeah, I'm impressed. No. It's quite. But even going up in the canyon here, you go like 10 minutes up into the canyon, you're seeing hoodoos and all sorts of stuff.
It's the best.
Yeah.
So, and that really reminds me of living in Montana, which is something that I miss. So
Montana is amazing. It's cold in the wintertime.
Oh my gosh. It's the only time I've walked through knee-deep snow was when I lived in Missoula.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. And I mean, it was my own fault. I was just hell-bent on leaving my apartment. I was like, look, I'm going to get some googly eyes. I'm going to go to this arts and crafts store, and I'm just trudging to it and had immediate regrets, but I was too stubborn to...
Share the experience. That's it. That's what you got to go out there and do. Sometimes you got to live it a little bit. Yeah, understand it.
It's interesting because they don't salt their roads up there after they plow them. They just throw rocks down. And so then, you're talking about road construction. When the spring happens, there's just huge potholes in the road because the car's been grinding the rocks into it. And they would say in Missoula we have 3 seasons. We have winter, road construction, and fire season.
There you go. So, that's no joke. I used to do a traveling salesman job.
Oh, cool.
And I would travel all over the West Coast. And I remember going through Idaho, and you're getting coming into Montana, and there's little highways where you have like the stakes and the extensions on them in the summertime. I'm like, there's no way snow gets that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You're like, it's like a bobsled. You're driving, and it's like if a truck come through, I would be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like good luck.
It's wild.
Crazy. Yeah. But it's like you say, it's super pretty. The thing I found amazing, Montana was the last state to lift. To actually put speed limits on their roads.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because Montana was unlimited for most, and it's only not that long ago actually.
Okay.
However, most of the roads up there are dirt, so you can do 100 miles an hour if you feel so. Good luck.
Accept the consequences of your actions, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Good luck with that. And most of the main roads are obviously paved, but
yeah.
Anyway, we can wrap this up if do you have much more that you want to share with us, or?
I mean, I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, you are still actively working in film industry, right? You're still doing things, yeah.
So like this winter, I participated in a writer's room for a project being done by BYU TV.
Oh wow.
and I'm active in like the festival circuit, usually with writing. That's the other thing. The pandemic really shifted me towards writing over production because I tried to shoot a film right after all the restrictions were lifted, and I went to Michigan and shot some stuff, but it was just one of the hardest things I'd ever done, because but it just wasn't time, and so I was like, okay, it's time to redirect my creative stuff, and I think it's worked really well for me. So
Yeah.
I did this writer's room. I'm working on a pilot right now, and I've got a script that I'm working on. So yeah, I'm trying to stay active. It's challenging because again, I think the best way to be successful in this industry is to not be in Cedar City, Utah, right? Like it's, you need to be in New York or LA probably,
Yeah.
but
Probably down south too.
Yeah.
Georgia and all them, Illinois.
Atlanta's doing
Atlanta,
big
yeah.
stuff. There's definitely places.
Mm.
Utah's got a good film commission, and BYU TV is great. Angel Studios does a lot of stuff here. I think Angel Studios is who's doing Fablehaven, actually.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, are they around here? Where are they doing this? Do you know?
well, right now I think they're still in pre-production and fundraising.
Oh, wow.
But I've looked at the script, which was cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I must let my boy come and see you and let him pick your brain.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him.
He would you would get a kick out of it. He
Yeah.
is fun to talk with.
Yeah.
He is so smart.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of him.
I mean, your boys left a strong impression on me the last time, and that was
I appreciate
2 years
that.
ago. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I try to stay active. I think being a professor, you should be active in your field. Like if you're a mathematician, I don't know what that looks like. You're testing theorems or whatever. In communication, there's a lot of like publishing that gets done. And I've had some of my colleagues, Hayden Coombs and Braden Bagley, Bagley, not Bagley. He's not like a bagel; he's like a bag. And
They're good people, by the way.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Hayden's awesome.
Hayden's probably why I'm here. So he was part of the hiring committee, and he was a pretty big advocate for me.
Good.
I think he just wanted a friend.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But like they've included me in some of their publications. Like we did something on professional wrestling, which was really fun. And they're much more experts in the comm theory stuff, and I'm much more of the subject matter expert in wrestling. So I've watched professional wrestling since I was like 5 years old. So
nice. My real father used to wrestle in Sydney. Apparently,
really?
His name was the Master Avenger back then.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was in the 70s apparently.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But so like there are those things, and when you're an art professor, you got to make art.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to me too, because like a lot of what I do is like film festivals, competitions and stuff, and that's what our film students are aiming towards. And so I feel like, again, one of the things that I can sort of provide in my mentorship is like, look, I'm doing this same stuff. I can tell you what has gone right, what has gone wrong, what I've learned, what you should be doing.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, like I in a perfect world, if I say like sold a pilot or something, I would spend the summer working on a big project and then come back and teach over the fall and spring.
Rock on. I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
And it could do with anything, whatever comes to mind. What makes the difference?
What makes the difference? I think kindness makes a difference. I think everything that I have accomplished has been rooted in kindness. I tell people, and I'm trying to word this again so that I can stay within the language parameters of the FCC. But when I tell people like how to be successful in media, I'm like, the big one is don't be a Richard. You know,
I love it.
I'm like, every opportunity I've had has been because I work hard. People thought I was funny, but also people thought I was nice. And I tell people, I'm like, look to the left and look to the right. Someone in this room is going to be responsible for you getting or not getting a job in 5 years. And it's going to be because they want to work with you or they don't want to work with you. And talent is huge, right? But there's lots of talented people, you know, like I think I'm a good writer. I think I'm funny. There are lots of funny, good writers.
So many, man.
They're
And Hollywood does nothing with them.
Yeah.
Which is so sad.
But we have an endless supply. And so what is going to get you across that threshold past those other talented people is come from a place of empathy, come from a place of understanding, like care about people, and they'll care about you.
Compassion.
Yeah.
So don't be a Richard and don't be a donkey.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. Hey, thanks, Bill. Thanks for taking the time. I know this is a lot of time, and your
This was
time's
great,
over,
man.
yeah.
I would come back anytime. So.
Oh, cheers. We'll organise that. I got a couple of things I'm going to pitch to you later on about what we could probably do here as far as performance goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
This has been a blast. So thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Take care. Play some Travis Scott.
There you go.
Dude, that was great.
That was fun, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming in and doing this. I'll get that down. I think I'm getting better at what I'm starting to work out here, you know?
I thought it was great. Like, I never felt like I didn't have a place to go conversationally. So
yeah,
I think you really led the discussion in a really strong way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, YouTube. You guys take care.